Good morning. We'll just give folks a moment to come in from the waiting room and connect to audio. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. You have just another moment. I see some folks are still trying to connect to audio here. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Danny. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm chair of the Boston Licensing Board, and today I am joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties who will be testifying. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and the commissioners. Again, all testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Begin with item number 1 on this morning's agenda, calling Johnny's on the Side LLC, doing business as West End Johnny's, located at 138 Portland Street. Dated the incident June 11th, 2022. Patron on patron assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners Curran and Saxon, Attorney Seamus O'Kelly, representing the licensee, John Caron, who is also present.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Hi, this is Gerard Nguyen. I was the responding officer who wrote the report for this incident.
Thank you very much. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify? Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Officer Nguyen, if you could please proceed with reading in the police report.
Okay, I will. About 1:58 a.m. on Saturday, 6/11/2022, Officer Nguyen and Officer Simons responded to a radio call for assault and battery in progress at 138 Portland Street. Upon arrival, officers spoke with a witness. The witness stated he works as a bouncer at West End Johnny's. The witness stated he observed the suspect punch the victim 2 times in the face and then flee the scene in a vehicle. The witness stated the suspect was the driver of the vehicle that fled the scene. The witness described the suspect as a black male wearing a gray t-shirt. The witness stated the suspect was accompanied by another black male with platinum colored hair. The witness stated he did not observe the second individual assault anyone. Officer spoke with the victim. The victim stated he and friends were sitting on the sidewalk across the street from 138 Portland Street. The victim stated the suspect drove to where they were sitting and tried parking. The victim stated when the suspect was unable to park, he exited the motor vehicle and began yelling at the victim and his group of friends. The victim stated eventually the suspect punched him in the face twice with a closed fist. The victim stated while he was being assaulted, another victim tried to intervene and was also punched in the face. Officers observed the victim to be bleeding from the mouth, and officers also observed the second victim to be bleeding from the nose. Boston EMS responded to the scene and checked out all victims, and a license premise check was conducted by the Alpha 910, who is the sergeant for A1, and West End Johnny's was cited for patron on patron violation.
Thank you, Officer Nguyen. Attorney O'Kelly, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, thank you. This is an incident, commissioners, that allegedly occurred outside 138 Portland Street in Boston. There is no allegation that this incident occurred within the premises, the licensed premises, West End Johnny's. I can represent that I have spoken to Alex Tropnes, the manager, who is, the bouncer who was referenced in the police report. Mr. Tropnes is not available today. He works as a Federal Express employee. It's a very busy time of the year, but the reporting officer is present. So if I may question that officer, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good morning, Officer Nguyen.
Good morning.
So you were the reporting officer, or one of the reporting officers, on June the 11th, 2022 at almost 2 o'clock in the morning on Portland Street in Boston. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I believe you wrote in your report that you spoke to Alex Tropnes, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Tropnes identified himself as a bouncer at West End Johnny's, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he also told you that he saw the suspect allegedly strike an Olivia Bibbo 2 times in the face and flee the scene in an automobile, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, he provided you with the registration number of that automobile. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that registration number of that automobile is referenced in your report,
Yes.
correct? And that vehicle fled the scene,
Yes, sir.
correct? Am I correct in stating that Mr. Tropnes also told you that he in fact called the police that night, if you recall?
I can't recall that.
Okay. Have you been involved in any follow-up investigation with respect to the suspect in this matter?
I have not.
You have not. Are you aware that if any criminal complaint has been taken out against that suspect?
No, sir.
Okay. And the alleged victims were sitting on the sidewalk on Portland Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
And exactly where were they sitting on the sidewalk?
Across the street from the entrance of West End Johnny's.
Okay. And it's fair to state that one of the victims told you that the suspect was driving an automobile on Portland Street, correct?
Yes.
And he was trying to park his automobile on Portland Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the alleged victims were sitting in the location of the spot where he tried to park his motor vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct? Would you agree with me that there is no evidence that the alleged suspect and his companion were ever in West End Johnny's that evening, correct?
Yes, sir.
You'd agree with me on that, yes?
Yes, I would agree.
Thank you. I have no further questions of this witness.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for your witness, or shall we move to questions from the board?
I'm sorry, Mr. Green.
Do you have any further questions for Mr. Cameron, or presenting anything further to the board, or shall we move to questions?
The only other evidence I would present to the board would be very briefly from Mr. Caron, who would testify that West End Johnny's had closed early that evening. And in fact, at around this time, West End Johnny's was closed. That would be the only other evidence I would present.
Thank you. We'll move to questions from the board. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Just confirming for the record that they were never inside the licensed premise. Is that true, Attorney O'Kelly?
That is correct.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
I do not have any, thank you.
None for me, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Calling item number 2, Fenway Johnny's LLC, doing business as Fenway Johnny's, located at 96 to 98 Brookline Ave, date of the incident July 16th, 2022. Assault and battery employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning again, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Attorney Seamus O'Kelly representing the licensee, Fenway Johnny's. Present again is the licensee, John Karen. I may have another witness who is out of the jurisdiction, Igor Trindade, who is the manager of Fenway Johnny's. He just contacted me on my mobile phone to tell me that he's running late. He may not be able to get on board, but his testimony may not be necessary, as he is not a precipient witness to the allegation in this matter.
Great, thank you for that. And if he is able to join us, we will swear him in if and when he does. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Norman Texera.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Okay, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Texera, you may please proceed with reading the police report.
About 2:15 a.m. on Saturday, July 16th, 2022, Officer Holbrook, while assigned to the front desk at District 4, took a walk-in assault and battery report, which occurred at Fenway Johnny's restaurant located at 96 Brookline Ave. The victim reporter, Emma Yeager, stated that she was at Fenway Johnny's restaurant at about 1 a.m. and wanted to go to the downstairs area of the restaurant to get her underage friend who had texted her to come get her. Yeager states that when she attempted to go to the downstairs area, she was told by a bouncer, white male in his 20s, that she was not allowed down there at this time. Yeager then informed the bouncer that she was going to file a report against the bar for allowing underage patrons in there to drink. At that point, the bouncer told her to leave the bar and proceeded to shove Yeager with two hands towards the door. Yeager believes that the force used against her was excessive and not necessary. Yeager was accompanied to District D4 by her mother, Jennifer Yeager. Jennifer Yeager was not a witness to this incident. Upon following up with that, myself and Detective Parlon responded to 96 Brookline Ave, Fenway Johnny's on July 22nd, 2022 to conduct a Code 35. Fenway Johnny's was issued a license premise violation 26408 for assault and battery, employee on patron, from an incident that occurred on 7/16/2022 at about 1:00 a.m.
Thank you very much. Attorney O'Kelly, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, this is an allegation, Madam Chair and Commissioners, that on or about in the early hours of Saturday, July 16th, 2022, that the alleged victim reported that she was assaulted and beaten in Fenway Johnny's. I do have a videotape in my presence, in my possession, that we have retrieved from the bar with the assistance of Mr. Trindade, the manager that evening. I will provide a copy of this to Mr. Green this week so that the commissioners can view it. It is very short, and I respectfully state that the videotape will show a dramatically different version of events than that alleged by Ms. Yeager to the Boston Police Department.
Great. Thank you, Attorney O'Kelly. We'll make sure that that is shared with the board. Do you have anything further for the board at this time, or shall we move to questions?
If I may briefly question the investigating detective.
Absolutely.
Good
Yes.
morning, good morning, Detective Texera.
Morning.
Thank you for being present for this hearing. So you were not, obviously, you're not you were not the officer who took the initial report from the alleged victim in this matter in the early hours of Saturday, July 16, 2022, correct?
Correct.
But you became the investigating detective in this matter, correct?
Yes.
As a result of your investigations, did you ever meet with Igor Trindade, the manager of Fenway Johnny's?
Yes.
On or about what date did you meet with Mr. Trindade there?
I believe on the date that the violation is written on the, or it might have been prior to that. But I did sit down with him and review the footage of the incident.
So you have personally reviewed the footage of the incident,
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
So I'll just get back to the police report. Ms. Jaeger said she was at Fenway Johnny's at about 1 a.m. and she wanted to go downstairs. She wanted to go to the downstairs area of the restaurant, as she said, to get an underage friend. And she was told by the bouncer that she was not allowed to go down there at that point. Is that correct?
Yes.
And would you agree with me that the bouncer requested that she not go down there at that point because that area was exiting at that time? Is that correct?
I don't recall if it was exiting or if it was at capacity downstairs.
Okay. But in your view of the tape, did you see people ascending the stairs, coming up from the downstairs area?
I can't recall at this time exactly what was on the video. I was more so focused on the assault part of it.
Okay. Did you see the alleged victim having a conversation with the bouncer at the top of the stairs?
Yes.
And could you discern from that conversation that the bouncer told the alleged victim that she could not go downstairs at that point? Is that correct?
I could see that she was attempting to go downstairs, as she stated, and that the bouncer was not letting her.
He was not letting her.
Right.
So she claimed to Officer Holbrook, the alleged victim, I should say, that the bouncer told her to leave the bar and proceeded to shove her with two hands towards the door. Did you observe Mr. Jaeger? Sorry, did you observe the bouncer shoving the alleged victim with two hands towards the door?
No, I did not observe
You
that.
did not. Would it be fair to state that what you observed on the tape was the bouncer with his hand directing Miss Jaeger to stand away from the stairs? Would that be fair to state?
Yes.
And would it be also fair to state that Miss Jaeger, in fact, did not leave the bar at that point, correct?
Correct.
She, in fact, and also Miss Jaeger had a beverage in her hand at that point, correct?
I don't recall.
You don't recall. Would you agree with me that the alleged victim was, so to speak, in the bouncer's face?
I mean, they looked like they were having a conversation. I wasn't there. I could imagine maybe it was loud. That could be a reason for why she was close to him. That's just my opinion on it, but I can't be for certain.
Okay, fair enough. But you would agree that it's clear from the videotape that Miss Jaeger went to another area of the bar, correct?
I was only focused again on the assault part. I wasn't sure where she went after that.
Okay, but she wasn't shoved out the door. You would agree with that, correct?
Right, correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions of Detective Texera, and thank you, sir.
Thank you, Attorney O'Kelly. Do you have any questions for Mr. Karen? Or
No, I don't at this
Great.
point. I will note for the record that Mr. Igor Trindade is now present. Mr. Trindade, I will submit that I have spoken to Mr. Trindade, and I will represent to the board that Mr. Trindade was the manager on duty that night. And from the tape, and he was not a percipient witness to this alleged assault and battery, but from the tape, I believe you can see the alleged victim going to another area of the bar where she again has a heated conversation with the manager, Mr. Trindade. And there's no audio on this tape, but Mr. Trindade at that point asked Ms. Yeager to please leave the premises. So I can make that representation that would be his testimony. And if the board wishes to question him, he's available for questioning.
Great, thank you. And Mr. Trindade, you have not been sworn in yet at this point. Could you please just raise your right hand in case there are any questions for you? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And at this time, we will move to questions from the board. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Attorney O'Kelly, did you say you have the video that you can share with us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you could send that over to the board?
The board will receive that this week. I will personally deliver it. I'll be in Boston on Thursday, and I will drop it in if that suits the board.
Sure.
And
We
the-
vote on Thursday at 10, so if we could,
Oh, I'll try and get it to you.
okay, before 10 o'clock, okay.
You'd like it before then? Is that what you're saying?
In order to vote on Thursday, we need to look at the video. I would like to look at the video at 10.
I will get the video to the board prior to the vote.
Okay, thank you. I don't have
Thank
any
you.
other questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
I'll wait for the video. Thank you.
Okay,
Likewise. Thank you.
all right. Thank you. The board will take this under advisement as well, and we will be on the lookout for that video.
Thank you very much, commissioners and Attorney Green. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. And you. Calling item number 3, Danres Corporation doing business as La Chiva Restaurant located at 259 Bennington Street in East Boston. Dated the incident July 9th, 2022. Assault and battery, patron on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Rodrigo Angulo, owner of La Chiva.
Thank you for joining us. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Officer Sullivan Venezia.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Montesino, if you can hear me, I'm having trouble with my device.
We can hear you. Thank you, Detective. Is it possible to turn your camera on to swear you in, or are you having technical difficulties?
I'm having technical difficulties. The screen's frozen, but I can hear everything though.
Okay, thank you. Can the other two witnesses who plan to testify please raise your right hand? And Detective Montesino, if you could please affirm to the board that you will raise your right hand as well.
Will do, sir.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. And who will be reading the police report into the record?
Officer Sullivan Venezia.
Great, thank you. You may proceed.
About 12 a.m. on Saturday, 7/9/22, officers Sullivan Venezia and Mirando in the Gold 101 Alpha responded to a radio call for a removal at 259 Bennington Street, East Boston, La Chiva Restaurant. Assisting was Sergeant McHale, the Yankee 902. Upon arrival, officers were met by a male/victim, later identified as Jose Daniel Guerra Rosales. Officers observed a severe laceration above the victim's left eye. Officer Sullivan Venezia then requested EMS for a medical evaluation. The victim stated that he was assaulted by a group of males inside of said address. Officer Sullivan Venezia was then met by another male witness, later identified as Andres Felipe, who stated he was the manager of the restaurant. The witness stated the victim came into the establishment and was walking around for about 45 minutes. The witness stated the victim appeared to be heavily intoxicated and was causing a disturbance inside the restaurant. The witness stated the victim then began to argue with a group of males that were standing inside the establishment. The witness stated the victim then pushed one of the males in the group. The witness stated said male suspect then punched the victim in the face, causing the severe laceration previously described. The witness stated the victim and suspect then both mutually fought each other until the suspect's friends physically separated both parties. The witness stated the suspect and his friends then left in an unknown direction. It should be known the witness stated the suspect arrived on a motorcycle. The witness was unable to describe the motorcycle. The suspect was described as a Hispanic male, 5'8" in height and weighing about 170 pounds. The suspect was described wearing a black vest, black jeans, and black shoes. Officers were then met by a female caller, later identified as Marcela Velez, who was an employee of the establishment. The caller stated she did not witness the fight, but one of the customers alerted her to call 911. Ambulance 07 arrived on scene and transported the victim to Mass General Hospital for further medical treatment. Due to the location of the assault being inside a licensed premise, officers requested the patrol supervisor respond for a Code 35 licensed premise violation. Sergeant McHale, the Yankee 902, then arrived on scene. A BPD Form 1891 licensed premise inspection notice was written and issued to the manager/witness for assault battery patron on patron. Entertainment license Cal 379876 was recorded. Common victualler license LB 38286 was recorded. Health permit number 381178 and 381177 was recorded. Inspection license number 377779 was recorded. It should be known photographs of the victim's injury was taken on Officer Mirando's department issue phone.
Thank you very much. Mr. Angulo, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, good morning to everyone. What I have to say is the guy, when he came, I have the video that I provided to the police, to Detective Montesinos. And what I saw in the video is that the guy came so waist, he was walking all around the restaurant up and down, and he was looking for a fight. He argued with some people before, and he went to the other corner and tried to fight with 3 guys that were eating there. And they took him outside and punched him, and the people left. We called the police before everything started because the guy was looking for a fight with somebody until he found 3 people. But we did call the police before the fight started. And I don't know if Detective Montesinos can say something about that. And in my defense, we just called the police. The guy was so wasted. I mean, he couldn't even eat. He couldn't even show like we wanted to eat. He just walking around so drunk. I mean, I don't have nothing else to say.
Thank you. We'll move to questions. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
I do. The police report in the testimony was that this suspect was inside walking around for about 45 minutes.
Yes.
How many staff do you have on in your restaurant? On a night,
At
on
that
night?
time, I have like 6 people working.
Okay. How come he wasn't removed after?
Well,
5
he
minutes
was
of him
like
walking up and down drunk?
he was walking up and down. He wasn't, at that moment, he was showing just being drunk, like walking up and down. We should have called the police, I guess, for that. But when we saw he was approaching people to fight, then we decided to call the police before we start the fight. And I can show it in the video. It was very clear when we called the police. I mean, Detective Montesinos has the video, and we know we always cooperate with the police. I mean, we don't sell alcohol, I only sell food. And this guy came so drunk.
Okay.
So,
I'm just trying to determine if you had asked him to leave beforehand or called the police beforehand, if perhaps it was.
yeah, I
fight when it
guess,
happened.
we should have called the police like 10, 15 minutes before when he was walking all over the restaurant. I guess you're right. Yeah, we should have, but we wait until almost he started fight, you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
Neither do I, thank you.
Do you have anyone designated as security on like a Friday or Saturday night?
Yes, sir. After this happened, I hired a company because this happened 6 months ago. So after that fight, I hired a company that I've been there for the last 6 months, and they're still there. I have a company, 2 securities every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which is their business night. I don't need it from Monday to Thursday because it's slow, but Friday signs. It's especially in the summertime. Like right now, it's not a crowd of people that come to a restaurant, but in the summertime, it's a busy place in summertime. So I do have right now a company as a security. I do have it.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Calling item number 4, Contilles Inc. doing business as Eddie C's located at 34 Maverick Square in East Boston, dated the incident July 30th, 2022. Patron on employee assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Staff on patron assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. And assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, patron on patron and staff in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Edward Contilli, manager.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective William Samaras, E7 Detectives.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Thank you. Can you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Samaras, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Yes, good morning. About 1:48 a.m. on Saturday, July 30th, 2022, Officer Nazir of the Gold 415 Alpha spotted a fight in front of Eddie C's at 34 Maverick Square, East Boston. Also responding units, Golf 416 Alpha, Golf 201 Alpha, Golf 101 Alpha, and the Golf Tango 55 Alpha. While patrolling the area of Maverick Square, Officer Nazir spotted a fight outside of Eddie C's. Officer Nazir observed a man and a woman fighting a male who was later identified as suspect Manaf Al-Kukabi, date of birth 7/5/81. Officer Nazir was able to stop the fight and call for backup units. The other patrons who were involved in the fight fled the scene while officers were trying to control the scene in the crowd of people gathered in Maverick Square. Suspect Manaf Al-Kukabi stated that he was drinking at the bar when he saw the bouncer of the bar kicking out someone he knows out of the bar, and that that's when he intervened and the bouncer punched him. And the next thing you know, according to the report, he was being assaulted by 6 people. Suspect Al-Kukabi also stated that he lost his consciousness during the fight. He complained of pain in his right ear, left leg, and left pinky finger. Suspect Al-Kukabi was examined on scene by EMS 1 Alpha 01 and was transported to MGH for evaluation. Bouncer witness identified as Richard Bonapane stated that he was trying to kick out the suspect Al-Kukabi's friend, who later identified as another possible suspect, Manasori. That's the name that he has. Of the bar, which point the man refused to leave and started to fight. And at some point, the man threw a brick, well, it says 8 bricks towards 20 to 30 patrons outside of the bar, but no one was hit. Another patron named Michael Othmer stated that he was outside and saw the guy who he believed to be throwing bricks and described him as a Hispanic male wearing a white shirt, white pants, and fled the scene towards Sumner Street. Witness Jacqueline Babin stated that she was outside of the bar and as well saw everything. She stated that she's not sure who started the fight, but she's sure that the suspect Al-Kukabi was not the one who threw the bricks. Witness Azadine Findiki, who happened to be friends with the suspect Al-Kukabi, also stated that the suspect Al-Kukabi was not the one who started the fight and that he knows the man who threw the bricks and believed his name is Manasori. Findiki believed Manasori threw the bricks because the suspect Al-Kukabi was being assaulted by 6 people. Officers canvassed the area in search of other possible suspects. Manasori, who may witness believes threw the bricks outside the venue, and the result was negative. The A7 Patrol Supervisor, Sergeant Casellas, was notified and performed Code 35 was performed at a later date. I have a supplemental to the Code 35. On Monday, 8/1/22 at 2100 hours 50 minutes, Detective Samaras Williamson, assigned to the A7 detectives under Sergeant Detective Manuel Blas, went to 34 Maverick Square to perform Code 35, issued the City of Boston Lights Premier Notice 022-687 related to the incident on 7/30 22. The citation was issued to the following infractions: patron on employee assault, employee on patron assault, and patron on patron staff ABDW. The citation was signed and received on site by manager Geraldine Ahern.
Thank you very much, Detective. Mr. Contilli, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, I would. Good morning, everybody. I was actually not present that evening, but from what I was told and what I saw on the video, which I did give to the Boston Police Department to view, 3 men. I had 2 doormen on that night, and one of them, Richard Bonapane, is at the door, and I had another one inside. So 3 men entered the bar, and the doorman that was inside, I guess, noticed one of the guys he was banned from a previous incident. So he had asked him to leave. He refused to leave. He said, "I'm not leaving until I finish my drink." So they escorted him kind of to the front of the building, and he still wouldn't leave. He said, "I'm finishing my drink." So we ended up getting the drink. They got the drink from him, got him out without any incident inside. And then when he was outside, the doorman, Richard Bonapane, was, just trying to get him away from the building. And that's when 2 of his friends came from the inside, came out, and they were yelling at my doorman, and one of them grabbed and then pushed my doorman. And then that's when he had pushed back, to protect himself. And then it kind of goes off the camera as far as what happens after. That's
Great. Thank you, Mr. Contilli. We'll move to questions at this point. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Mr. Contilli, do you have a copy of the video that you can share with the board?
I do. I was having trouble because it was a big video, and I was having trouble when I was given to the detectives. They had to come to actually get it from me because I couldn't send it. Wouldn't send because it was a big file. I could see if I can get someone that knows a little more than me how to get it on one of those drives or something. But
Okay, so your testimony today is that the person who was asked to leave the bar was previously banned from this location.
Yes.
And he went out without any incident, but his friends came out after him, and that's when the assault.
Yes, and I guess his friends came out after him, and that's one of his friends is the one that assaulted my doorman first, and then there was like a little pushing match out front of the bar, and
Okay.
And as far as I don't know who threw a brick, that someone said someone threw a brick at people. I don't know who that was, or there was none of that on the video.
And the people that were working that night, none of them are here with you today?
No, they're not.
Okay. After this incident, did you ask them to write up what happened? Did you interview them?
I didn't have right, but I spoke to them.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon.
I don't know. Thank you.
None for me, thank you.
Thank you. And there is a video that was forwarded to us, Chairman Joyce, by Lieutenant Troy. It's in a format that is not compatible. I've not been able to get it to work yet, but once we have that in a format that we can use, make sure it's shared with the board. Anything further from the board at this time? Board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 5, the Boston Leco Corp. doing business as Legacy Boston, located at 71 to 79 Warrenton Street, dated the incident August 7th, 2022. Patron on staff assault and battery in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Is anyone here present on behalf of Legacy? We will try to contact them and get them on and take a second call. Calling item number 6, GSTH Investment Group LLC, doing business as Bijou and Rock and Rye, located at 51 Stewart Street. Date of the incident September 8th, 2022. Failure to maintain line, blocked sidewalk in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Morning, Mr. Green, Stephen Miller, McDermott Quilty and Miller also is, I see him, Mete Aslan and at Bijou, and I believe Joseph Ganem, who was also there that night, is on. Mete, can you unmute yourself and put the camera on, please? or not?
We see his square on the screen here.
I see a square and I see him. There we go. Mete, could you put your camera on also, please?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. In the meantime, I'll ask who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department.
Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Aslan, are you able to turn your camera on? So we can start your-
I don't know why it's not turning on.
Can you-
Is Joe Gownon there also with you?
No, he,
Okay, that's all right.
not together.
You were there tonight. Okay, they're together. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Aslan, can you please affirm for the board that you are raising your right hand when asked to do so? Mute now.
Mete, did you? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, sorry.
Great, thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand?
Yep.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, you may please proceed with the police report.
Yes, good morning. On 9/8/2022 at 11:05 PM, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to licensed premise unit, were driving through the theater district, monitoring the bars and nightclubs, when their attention was drawn to a large crowd blocking the sidewalk in front of Club Bijou. Detectives observed the crowd to extend from the front door of Bijou in both directions in front of the abutting premises and out onto the street. Detectives parked across the street and made their way across the Bijou. Detectives were informed by the club that they were nearing capacity. Detectives informed management that they needed to move the crowd from the front of the premise so as to keep portion of the sidewalk open to the public. Management summoned more of the staff from inside to assist. Due to the lack of cooperation of the crowd gathered in front of Bijou, management decided to close their doors for all new patrons desiring to enter. Detectives requested 2 MAC units to respond and assist in moving people off the street and away from Bijou. Officers remained on scene for 20 to 25 minutes. As a result, what detectives had observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 059730 to Club Bijou for failure to maintain line, block sidewalk. Mr. Mete Aslan signed for and accepted the notice attached to the report. We do have pictures of the crowd that you can see that was in front of the premise and blocking the sidewalk. Second picture as well. And here's the third picture. And that's essentially it.
Thank you. And we have those photos on the file, and they've been shared with the commissioners. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, Sergeant, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Did the management and staff cooperate with you?
Yes, sir, they did.
And this was beginning of September. This was right after Labor Day, kind
That's
of
correct.
the week right following Labor Day.
Yes, sir, it was.
And staff, along with management, decided, as you said, this was 11:05 at night. And because of the crowd outside, and that they decided to shut down as letting in anybody else for the rest of the evening.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Have you had any issues since that time with crowd control on the sidewalk at?
Yes, sir. No,
no.
sir.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Welcome.
So, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mete Aslan is on. They clearly got surprised by this was the first week back. All the college students were back in town. After the summertime, they got surprised by the amount of people. They had some new staff on. They had that did not monitor the way they should have as far as the exterior. They did take immediate action with once the sergeant and the detective alerted them. The and they decided at 11 o'clock at night, they have a 2 o'clock license at 11 o'clock, a little after 11 o'clock at night, they decided that they were close enough to capacity and that they would not be letting anybody else in. So they took immediate action, and they've obviously done significant training with their staff to make sure something like that doesn't happen again. Mete, do you want to add anything for the board?
Just that after this incident, we actually started doing 2 doors. On this particular night, we were doing 1 door entrance. And we decided to do 2 doors. We hired additional security moving forward. We have, I think, double the amount of security outside doing crowd control in the beginning of the night, during and after we close.
So I have nothing further, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Thank you, Attorney Miller. Chairwoman Joyce, any questions?
Yes, what was going on this night that you believe drew such a large crowd?
We're assuming that it was the first week back and all the colleges were back. We weren't expecting a crowd like that. We were opening the week prior, and there was not a crowd like this at all. And when I showed up, and it was very busy, and the crowd wasn't moving, and we tried everything, and I think it took us like 20 minutes probably. I'm not sure, Sergeant Gallagher could attest to it too, but I think it took us like 20 minutes to clear the street, but we weren't expecting it at all. And we just decided to close the door and just clear the sidewalk that night. And after that, we've been doing 2 doors, double the security, and we haven't had any issues yet.
Okay. Detective Gallagher, they were cooperative and helped disperse the line after you showed up. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Okay. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Commissioner Sacks or Commissioner Curran, any questions?
Sergeant Detective Gallagher, were they, when you guys arrived on scene, were they trying to control the crowd at all?
It looked like they kind of get caught off guard. A lot of these kids tend to arrive at the same time, social media, whatever, there's no one there at 10:30, then 11 o'clock, the line's insane. I think they got caught off guard. They had to bring people from the inside, outside to help. The guys outside were clearly overwhelmed.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 7, Boryung Inc., located at 156 Cambridge Street, date of the incident, October 7th, 2022. Minors on premise with alcohol in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34. Failure to properly ID patrons prior to alcohol service in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. And no manager on site in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Thank you. I'm going to ask you to unmute. If you could please just identify yourself for the board.
Yep, this is I'm the owner.
Thank you. And sorry, can you just please state your name for the board?
My name is Hyung Jang.
Thank you, Mr. Jang. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? Mr. Jang, if you could please raise your right hand as well. Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, you may please proceed with the police report.
Yes, good morning. On 10/7/2022 at 9:47 p.m., Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to licensed premise unit conducted a license inspection of Bonchang Restaurant at 156 Cambridge Street, Boston. Inside the premise, detectives observed a table of young-looking males drinking bottles of beer. Thinking that the males looked under 21 years of age, detectives approached, identified themselves as Boston Police, and requested their IDs. 2 of the males immediately stated that they were under 21. The third stated he was 23 and produced a Hong Kong identity card. Detectives asked the males if they were asked for ID when they ordered the alcohol, and they replied no. Detectives then spoke to the servers, who confirmed that they did not ask for identification. Detectives asked to speak with the manager, and they were informed that there was no manager present and he was on vacation. Restaurant staff did place a call to Mr. John Chang, who arrived on scene within 10 minutes to speak with detectives. In addition, detectives failed to locate a current City of Boston entertainment license for the non-live TV and recorded music. Detectives relayed all they had observed to Mr. Chang, who stated he would train his servers and locate his tent license. The underage patrons were identified as Deelan Punjabi, date of birth 6/16/2003. Nikali Ramachadi, date of birth 1/27/2003. Third male with the Hong Kong ID was identified as Lam Vieira, date of birth 7/26/99. Mr. Punjabi and Mr. Ramachadi will be summoned into court for being persons under warrant of possession of alcohol. Mr. Vieira will be summoned into court for procuring alcohol for persons under 21. Sergeant Detective Gallagher did issue license premise inspection notice number 059981 to Bonchong for service to persons under 21. Failure to properly ID patrons prior to alcohol service, no manager in sight, and no posted entertainment license. Mr. John Chang signed for and accepted the notice. Those are essentially other facts.
Thank you. Mr. Jang, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, no. That was my fault, exactly. I wasn't there, but I needed something to buy, and then I got a call from my staff. There was a violation. They didn't check up the ID.
Thank you. Is there anything further you'd like to add, or shall we move to questions? Okay. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the licensee?
Yes, do you ID everyone who comes in?
Yeah, sure.
Do you do it visually, or do you have an ID scanner?
We don't have an ID scanner, but we just have the customer. Yeah, usually they don't allow to the server to take a picture of their ID, but we can just make sure and check up the ID. After that, after October 7th, so I got violation. I got a ticket. So every day I do a training to my staff.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
Did you, when you weren't there, was someone supposed to be in charge and they just didn't understand it? What was going on with that?
Pardon?
So during the when the inspection happened, you weren't there, correct?
Yeah, I want the.
Okay. Did you leave the premise in charge with an employee at all that should have been in charge?
Yeah, actually, I there was the vice man, assistant manager, but she was a Chinese server. But I never thought that they didn't do the check ID, because this is a very basic job description to everybody, to people who visit my restaurant. So I never thought they didn't check the ID.
Okay, but with regard to leaving your business in the hands of a capable person that would be in charge at all times, did you recognize that someone should have been able to identify themselves to the police as
Sure.
person in charge at that moment? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
All right, nothing for me. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, the board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Calling item number 8, the J LLC located at 110 Dorchester Street in South Boston, dated the incident October 9th, 2022. Overcrowding, 172 mechanical count, house count 150, capacity 140, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F. Was present on behalf of the licensee.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Attorney Green. This is Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With me this morning, Arlie Bratman, and I believe Will Clark. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Gallagher, you may please proceed.
Yes, good morning. On 10/9/2022 at about 10:25 p.m. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to licensed premise unit, were driving through South Boston, monitoring the bars, and they observed a large line at Hunter's at 110 Dorchester Street. Detectives parked their unmarked vehicle and proceeded to the premise on foot, where they identified themselves as Boston police officers. Detectives met with the manager, Arlie Bradman, and informed her they were going to conduct an inspection. Detectives inquired with door staff as to the count and were informed 150. Detectives observed on the premises licenses the capacity to be 140. Detectives observed the premise to be full, and thinking that it had exceeded capacity limits, Detective Hernandez conducted a mechanical count, which resulted in 172 persons being found. Detectives informed Ms. Bratman of the account and not to let any more patrons in. Ms. Bratman said she would bring the premise into compliance and had her staff disperse the line. As a result, what was observed, Sergeant Gallagher issued a license premise inspection notice numbers 058984 to Hunters for overcrowding. 172 found a mechanical count, house count 150, capacity 140. Ms. Allie Bratman signed for and accepted the notice. Essentially the facts.
Thank you. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
If I may, just a few brief questions for the Sergeant Detective.
Mhm.
Morning, Sergeant Detective Gallagher.
Morning, sir.
Sergeant, when you first observed that your report indicates a large line outside, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Usually indicative that some checking was going on at the door?
Yes.
Okay, and indeed, you then inquired of the manager, Ms. Bratman, who's with us this morning, the manager who was on duty, and was she cooperative with you?
Yes, sir, she was.
And as your report indicates, she immediately took steps to alleviate the congestion and disperse the crowd.
She did.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just, Madam Chair, just want to suggest what happened here is an inexperienced person was on the door on the night in question. Unfortunately, that person is no longer with the establishment, as otherwise we could perhaps explain better, but in any event, I think they were just, staffing was an issue and the person on the door was not a qualified person, if you will, or an experienced person rather, with regard to checking and numbers, et cetera. We don't know where he came up with this, with the 150. The capacity is 140 as indicated. Their thought was that the door was checking. There was a line, obviously. People were being checked and asked at the door, and not willy-nilly being let in. But in any event, this person was just made a mistake, unfortunately. This establishment has no history of violations. She and Ms. Bratman cooperated fully with the police. Mr. Clark, who's involved in management as well, has conducted, complete retraining of people and making certain that the exterior is staffed by persons with experience in terms of capacities and keeping control of lines, et cetera. So our apologies for what we believe was a mistake by this inexperienced door person, which was alleviated immediately when the detectives arrived and Ms. Bratman complied with their requests. And they take their jobs very seriously and can assure you that this will not happen again. Ms. Bratman, do you want to, you were there, Pres, correct?
Yeah, I absolutely was. And just as you said, we, since have worked on retraining, hiring, we've parted ways with that employee and making sure that we're, we do apologize and we're going to constantly be in capacity.
Thank you. We'll turn to the board for any questions. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the licensee?
Just for point of clarification, I'm looking at your license right now, and what I'm looking at says capacity is 110 And I know the license premise incident report says 140, and you said 140, Attorney Quilty. Can we confirm that? Just so we're all on the same page. I see on the face of your license 110. Your 2023 license.
I'm sorry, I do not have it in front of me, Madam Chair.
Okay,
I was going from the numbers on the report as well. We
That's
will
what I'm looking at
certainly-
as well as 110 on the face of the license.
Well,
I just want to make sure, you know, the staff
is.
has the
Mr.
right number, is working off the right number.
Yeah,
Madam Chair,
Bratman, so until further information, the number appears to be 110. We should be certain that that is the number that we're using. If there is a possibility with a redrawing of a plan, we may be back in front of the board, but we'll maintain the 110.
Okay, Sergeant Gallagher?
yes, ma'am, there is some confusion there in the licenses. We've noted that in the past that there seems to be different capacities on several of the licenses. And I saw Will Clark there in the background. He might be able to elaborate on this more, but there is, we believe it is 140. That's the highest you can go, but there are different capacities on at least 2 of the licenses that are posted on the wall.
I don't have the licenses right in front of me, but I do know the entertainment is at 140. We're gonna definitely adjourn
Okay.
from here and go and figure that out.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Could be a question of when you move, I don't know if you move tables and chairs for entertainment or what, but it'd be helpful to have
Additional.
everyone working off the same set of numbers.
Of course.
Madam Chair, we'll review all of the licenses and make a report back. You want me to just report back to Mr. Green?
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions for me. Thank you.
None for me either. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 9, Last Drop Inc., doing business as The Last Drop, located at 594A to 596 Washington Street in Brighton. Date of the incident, October 13th, 2022. Service of more than 2 alcoholic drinks to 1 patron at a time, ×2, in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I'm Douglas Bacon, owner and manager of record of this business.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, if need be.
Thank you. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, you may please proceed with the police report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from a police report, which I wrote on Thursday, October 13, 2022. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez signed to the DPD licensed premise unit conducted licensed premise inspection of The Last Drop located at 596 Washington Street in Boston. As detectives were standing in the bar area, detectives observed one of the bartenders provide 3 mixed drinks to 2 separate customers. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. David Nassif. Mr. Nassif stated that he would remind his staff of the service of no more than 2 drinks to 1 customer at a time. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 058989 for service of more than 2 drinks to 1 patron at one time, ×2. This is a prohibited practice in violation of Mass Law 204 CMR 4 Section B. Mr. Nassif signs for an accepted notice.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bacon, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, if I could, thank you, Detective Hernandez. I just have one question, if I might, please. Did you see where the drinks went or what happened after the drinks were made?
They went over to one of the other tables. At least one of the sets went to one of the tables across from the bar.
Okay, and did you notice how many people were seated there that those drinks were given to?
Yeah, there were multiple people sitting at that table.
Okay, thank you very much, Detective Hernandez. I don't have, we don't dispute exactly what Detective Hernandez described. I do think we have provided more training and instruction to our bartenders, but I do think it's worth noting, and it's reasonable to provide a little bit of context. This is a neighborhood bar. It's only 1,600 square feet. Our total capacity is 100 people. At this time, it was a Thursday at 10 p.m. There were about 50 people, so it wasn't a very busy or crowded night. By the observation of Detective Hernandez and Sergeant Gallagher, the bartender made 3 drinks, and one person was at the bar buying a round of drinks for his friends. These customers were all well known to the bartender and regular customers. So this was their second round of drinks for both of these parties. And we don't dispute that there was a technical violation, but there was the bartender fully knew well that the drinks were going to 3 different individuals in each of these cases. And it's very much a neighborhood place where we are very familiar with our customers. The customers were seated at a counter that was approximately 10 feet from the bar, and the bartender had eye contact and visibility on all of the patrons at all times.
Thank you. Anything further, Mr. Bacon? Or is that all? Okay, we'll move to questions. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions for the licensee?
Thank you. I don't have any questions at this time.
Thank you.
Mr. Bacon, are you saying that the bartender had visuals on both sets of customers?
Yes.
In both incidents?
At all times.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement. And calling item number 10, S&H North Station Inc. doing business as North Station Liquors located at 103 Causeway Street. Date of the incident, October 15th, 2022. Public drinking in front of the licensed premise, a liquor store, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning again, Mr. Green, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Stephen Miller, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. With me is Smitesh Patel. And he's under Wild Duck. I'm not sure if there's anybody else with you, Smitesh. Are you alone?
No, leave me.
Okay. So Smitesh Patel is the manager of record and was there at the time of this incident.
Thank you very much. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
I'll go if need be.
Thank you very much. Can you all please raise your right hand?
Smitesh, raise your right hand.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Truth.
Thank you very much. Detective Hernandez, you may please proceed with the police report.
Good morning. I'll be reading from police report, which I wrote on Saturday, October 15th, 2022. Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD License Premise Unit were performing checks for the bars and restaurants around the TD Garden area. While walking past North Station Liquors located at 103 Causeway Street, they noticed multiple patrons sitting and standing outside of the liquor store drinking alcohol. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Mr. Himesh Patel, who stated he would monitor the people gathering in front of his store and move them along. Detectives advised Mr. Patel to call 911 if he was encountering problems with patrons not wanting to leave. As a result of what detectives observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license reference inspection notice 058956 for patrons observed drinking alcohol on public way in front of premise. Mr. Patel for signed accept the notice. That's all.
Very much. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, yes. Detective Hernandez, Mr. Patel and his staff cooperated with you?
Yes, very, very cooperative.
And did he explain to you, but this was a time, was there a Celtics game or a Bruins game that day? Or
There was some sort of, there was some game going on there. Yes, definitely.
So the area was generally crowded. Did Mr. Patel explain to you that he has security staff inside and attempts to move people along at these times?
He had staff in there, but nobody was outside monitoring what was going on out there. That's what brought us inside.
Did he at any point state that he has issues with people outside actually selling alcohol? If you recall.
He has issues with people outside, yes.
Yes, thank you. I have nothing further. So Mr. Patel, just identify yourself to the board again.
My name is Smitesh Patel. I'm the record of the manager, North Station Liquor.
And so at that time this is October 15th, at that time, how many security staff do you have on with when there's a game or a concert or whatever at the Garden?
We have generally 2 people on the work, but like at the game time, usually 3 on staff. Now I've been putting 1 more extra, so 4. And the problem is over there all the time, like crowded. We're trying to all the time say they are sometimes threatened. So, and sometimes like I think couple weeks back, some woman selling the alcohol outside. We're trying to call cops. Cops come and says, "Oh, she's not here. We cannot do nothing."
So Detective Hernandez and Sergeant Gallagher advised you that in the future, when you're having trouble, obviously you need to monitor the exterior of the premises, which you did by adding another person at busy times. And also, if you're having trouble moving people along, to call the police. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that's what you've been doing?
Yes.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, they obviously when there's an event at the Garden, these issues occur, and up to this point, Mr. Patel, when at busy times, went from 2 people inside to 3 people inside, and changed it to, after this event, changed it to 4 people total, including 1 whose responsibility is to just make sure people are moving along. If they're not, and as he did state that they have had incidents with people outside actually selling alcohol, and he's called the police, and by the time the police get there, they're smart enough to move on. He's changed his procedures, and he's obviously working with his staff to make sure that this doesn't happen again and taking appropriate actions.
Thank you, Attorney Miller. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Thank you. I don't have any questions at this time.
Commissioner Carmen, Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
No questions from me. Thank you.
None from me either. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take a second call. Has anyone joined us on behalf of Legacy Boston? I know we did call. Once again, is anyone present on behalf of Legacy Boston, item number 5 on this morning's agenda? Chairman Joyce, how would you like to proceed? Would you like the police report read into the record, or would you like to reschedule with the licensee?
We know that they've been served.
They have been served.
Why don't we read it into the record, and then we'll reach out to them after.
Thank you. Who is
Case
present?
rescheduling is an issue.
Thank you. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Officer Christopher Rooney.
Thank you, Officer Rooney. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of this alleged incident who wish to testify?
Sergeant Daniel McIsaac, if necessary.
Thank you. Can you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Officer Rooney, if you could please proceed with the police report.
About 1:42 a.m. on Sunday, August 7th, 2022, Officer Rooney and Entwistle in the Alpha 103 Alpha responded to a fight at the Royale Club located at 279 Tremont Street downtown. Operations advised that the manager was struck in the face by a female after security tried to remove her boyfriend. Officers arrived on scene to assist, including the Alpha 101 Alpha Chan and Drew and the Alpha 914 Sergeant McIsaac. Upon arrival, there was a crowd of 5 to 6 screaming at security outside of the club. The bouncers were waving at police to quickly come over and intervene. Officers exited the cruiser and ordered several males to back away from staff. Officers then began investigating the incident. I spoke with the victim, Stephen Barbosa, a bouncer at the club. Barbosa stated a Brazilian female and her boyfriend were spilling drinks inside the club and appeared heavily intoxicated. Barbosa stated he was alerted that the two needed to be removed from the club. Barbosa stated that he ordered the female, later identified as Julia de Alcantara Loreto, and her boyfriend to leave the club. The victim stated that the couple refused and allowed an argument ensued. Barbosa explained at that point he went to physically remove the female from the club. When he did so, Barbosa stated he was punched in the face by the female. Barbosa stated he then dragged the female out of the club and her boyfriend, a Brian DeBarros, and his friends all jumped in. Barbosa stated he was attacked by the group and punched in the face. Officer Rooney observed some redness and swelling on Barbosa's forehead above his left eye. Barbosa declined EMS and stated he was not injured. Simultaneously, Officer Entwistle was speaking with the female victim, Julia de Alcantara Loreto. Officers observed that the victim was hysterically crying and screaming about the incident. Loreto stated she was asked to leave the club and she was attacked by security. Loreto stated she never attacked the bouncers and that she was the one who was punched in the face. So we did not observe any injuries on her, and she declined EMS. Another injured male was on scene from the incident. Officer Rooney spoke with Mr. Correa, who was pointed out by Barbosa as one of his attackers. Barbosa stated that after he was punched, he fell during the scuffle onto Mr. Correa. Correa stated that Julia was punched in the face and he hurt his leg, after a scuffle with the bouncers. Officers observed Correa's ankle, left ankle, to be visibly swollen, and he was unsteady on his feet. Boston EMS was dispatched to the scene for Correa. Boston EMS arrived moments later to treat Correa. Per EMS, they advised the ankle injury appeared to be a sprain, and Correa declined to be transported and was advised to ice his foot. There were no other injured parties on scene, and Boston EMS did not transport any victims from the incident. Ryan DeBarros was the boyfriend of Loreto and was alleged to have attacked Barbosa and other staff when he and his girlfriend were asked to leave the club. Barbosa also pointed out another suspect, sorry with the pronunciation here, João de Vasconcelos, and stated he jumped in when he was tasked with removing the couple. Barbosa explained he was pushed, grabbed at, and punched by all parties. None of the assaults occurred in officers' presence. After EMS cleared the scene, officers ordered all patrons to leave the club and area. The Alpha 914 Sergeant McIsaac completed a Code 35 license premise violation number 026613. After the license premise was completed, the club was closed and officers returned to service, and the incident was captured on body-worn camera.
Thank you, officer. I will ask the board if there are any questions for you. Chairman Joyce, do you have any questions for the officer based on that report?
I just want to make sure I'm just following along correctly. The bouncer said he was punched in the face. The bouncer dragged the female victim out. And then he was punched in the face by a group of people. Is that right?
So he was informed that the female party was spilling drinks inside the club. When he tried to remove her, he claimed that she punched him in the face. And then when he went to physically remove her, her boyfriend and his friends attacked him.
Okay. And there was body camera footage of this?
I'm sorry, the incident was recorded during the interview. The assault inside the club, we arrived after.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. I don't have any questions at this time.
Commissioner Carmen, Commissioner Saxon, any questions for the officer?
Yeah, not at this time. Thank you.
None for me either. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will reach out to the licensee to reschedule their appearance before the board on this matter as well. Thank you. Those are all the items before the board today, and that will adjourn this morning's hearing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.